Well, hey there, my friend. Welcome back to the show. My name is Deanna Yates, and you are listening to episode 292 of the Wanna Be Clutter-Free podcast. On today's episode, I am joined by Tracy McCubbin. She is the CEO and founder of Declutter, one of America's top decluttering companies. In the last 2 decades, she has helped thousands of clients clear the clutter in their lives to create space for positive life changes. Tracy's also the author of Making Space Clutter-Free and her latest book, Make Space for Happiness. And she also takes a look at the root of our clutter to find the real cause and find ways to make real solutions last in our lives. So it's not just about getting rid of the stuff, it's how can we make the stuff in our homes work for us. This is a fantastic conversation. Tracy and I break down a lot of the trends we've been seeing in the organizing space and what is working, what's not working, and really how she's seen the industry evolve over the last 19 years that she's been in business. So it's a fantastic conversation. I think you're going to walk away with not only actionable tips and things you can do, but just a better perspective on the stuff in our homes and feeling better about maybe how we arrived at where we are today. Okay, it's really about building you up and not shame. There's no shame, no judgment. We really just want to help you create the space that you want in your home and in your life. And Tracy and I really see eye to eye on a lot of things. So I think you're going to get a lot out of this conversation. But before we dive in, I just want to say a quick thank you to you, of course, for joining me today on this show. If you like what you hear, just do a quick rating and review to let other people know that this show is valuable to you. That would be really helpful. And it helps other people find the show and helps them deal with the clutter and stuff in their lives as well. So really appreciate that. And then if you want show notes with all the resources that Tracy talks about today, I've got lots of links that are over there. So that is wannabeclutterfree.com/292. Again, wannabeclutterfree.com/the 292. All right, let's get to our conversation. Well, hey, Tracy, welcome to Wanna Be Clutter Free. How you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
I am thrilled you are here. We are going to have a wonderful conversation. But before we hop into that, can you please introduce yourself and tell listeners who you are and what you do?
So my name's Tracy McCubbin. I am the owner and founder of Declutter, which is a home organizing and decluttering business based in Los Angeles. I have been in business for almost 19 years now. I think January 6th was our 19th year anniversary.
Wow.
So I've been decluttering in people's homes for a very long time. I'm the author of a couple books on our emotional attachment to our stuff. And I'm also franchising my business. So I am scaling the business and landed on the franchise model. So we've sold our first 2 locations, about to sell our third, and really, really excited about that.
Wow, that's super exciting. And almost 20 years in the business. That's incredible. So you are going to have a lot of things to teach us today. And I'm really excited. I think our listeners are going to really love it. What do you notice now that you didn't see, though, at the beginning when it comes to why clutter really sticks around? Are there any big differences?
Yes, I would say that I'm starting to see a move away from perfectionism.
I love it.
I think when I really started and especially during the pandemic, like people were very like, we're going to label everything in a house font and my whole pantry. And now we're like, no, that takes too much time. So I'm really seeing a move away from perfectionism and more systems. So not so much how it looks, but how it works, which I think is great. I'm seeing a much bigger conversation about you can't talk about organizing and decluttering if you're not talking about your acquisition and what you're bringing in. So yeah, my second book, Make Space for Happiness, really deals with all this. And I think that we're all starting to realize, like, if I keep shopping and if I keep buying, even if I see all these girls on TikTok who are like, I did a thrift store haul and I'm buying secondhand. And it's like, a haul is still a haul. You're still bringing a lot in. So really, I'm seeing such a bigger conversation about that, which is exciting to me, that we are ultimately responsible for what we bring into our homes, and we're the ones that bring it out in. So I really like that. So I think those are kind of the big things. Really the perfectionism of it. I
Oh,
think that's the one I'm the most excited about.
I was going to say that just hits me right in the feels because I have definitely felt that in my own life. And it's nice to know that I'm not the outlier because tell people all day long. First of all, perfectionism doesn't even exist because as soon as you get to that next step that you thought was what you wanted, right? Again, let's say we labeled everything perfectly in our house, we decanted all the stuff. You either are going to want to take it to the next level or you're going to realize, oh gosh, that wasn't the solution I needed. And so I think it's just great that we're getting into this place of like, let's work for real life and know that all those decanting videos maybe are just performative art and it's fine and they have a place and it can be aspirational, but I don't want us to get down on ourselves for not having that in our lives, especially if we have young kids at home or we're just busy and there's lots going on. We don't have money to spend on we don't have the celebrity closets. That's fine. Like,
Well, and
let's
I
just live
think
for real life.
exactly. And I think what people didn't realize and are starting to realize too is that the amount of maintenance that takes. There's a family. We all know who I'm talking about. They have a big TV show. We've watched them grow up. They have full-time people that do that. There's a person, that goes to all those houses and does those Oreos. It's a full-time job. So I think as we're getting further into social media and our realization with it is, look, do I love to sit there and watch like things being color coded and put in order? Of course I do. But, understanding there's your life. And is that what you want to be doing? Is that how you want to be spending your time? The goal is that you want to know where to find things in your house when you're looking for them and where to put them away and not be buying multiples because you already own it. You want to get dressed in the morning with ease. You want to find your kids' homework. Like all of that is great goals, but for it to have to look perfect and to your point exactly, what's perfect?
Right. Yeah. What's perfect? And what is perfect for one person isn't perfect for another. And again, perfectionism doesn't exist. It just doesn't. It's a state that you will never hit. It's that carrot at the end of the stick that you will constantly be chasing for the rest of your life. And so I think it's much better to figure out what are the things that are important to me, to my family, to the people that live under my roof, and how can we make life work better for them? So yeah, this conversation's gonna be so good. I'm so excited.
And that's my whole goal. That's 19 years and books and speaking, and it's just your home is a tool. Bottom line, it's a tool. It's a tool to rest you, to shelter you, to nourish you, to grow your family, to have beautiful memories. It's not a museum.
No.
So how do you make your home work for you?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it because I know so many of my listeners feel like their clutter is a personal failure, right? They feel like I should be able to keep on top of this. Why do I have all this stuff? Why am I so overwhelmed when other people look like they've got it all together, right? How do you help women understand that clutter is not a character flaw?
So I'm going to steal from or borrow from, and I don't know if you've had her on, but Casey Davis.
Oh, I love her, but I have not yet. So Casey, if you're listening, I want you on the show.
Yeah. So she was the first one, she comes from a neurodivergent household. She's a therapist. And she was the first one that said it in this way where I was like, she calls them care tasks. So putting away clothes, doing laundry, they are morally neutral. You're not a good person if you're good at them. You're not a bad person. Like they're morally neutral. So when you start there, it's like, she was the one that sort of, and lots of people do this, but like she just doesn't fold her kids' clothes. She's like, my kids are little. I don't care. There you go. And, but it means that what that means is not folding them is that it's less time laundry for me. So more I get to do other stuff, spend with my kids. They get dressed in the morning. It's all in bins labeled. So shirts are shirts. And, she just took all this thing off. And I was like, that is fantastic. I also heard a great hack from Bobbi Brown, who had the makeup entrepreneur. She said that when she was at the height of a working mom, she used to give her boys a bath. She was raising 3 sons, give her boys a bath, dress them in tomorrow's clothes. They slept in them and then got up and went to school. It's like, that's so genius.
Smart. Yeah.
So I think that idea of, so one, you're not a good or a bad person, because there's so many factors. Were you taught to be organized? Did you grow up in a house where that was important? Do you have some kind of neurospiciness where it doesn't make sense to you? Also, the other thing that people need to understand is that the deck is stacked against us. We are being pushed and pushed to consume. We are given so much stuff. We are buying so much stuff. I mean, my famous joke is like, you don't even have to put pants on to go shopping anymore. You just go on Amazon. So the flood of stuff that's coming at us means that you never get on top of the clutter, ever.
Yeah.
And so I think people really need to understand that there are these other factors. And when you kind of do your sort of self-inventory, and I mean, my team just took a fascinating course. This organizer, Melanie Summers, who specializes in helping people organize with ADHD. So my team took it to work with our clients. And it's been a game changer because you're trying to put these systems in place for people who see the world in a different way than you do. And so I think 11% of the adults in the United States are diagnosed with ADHD. Like once you start to realize like, oh, I have this, or I see it this way, then like, I just want to say to people, it's not your fault.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, especially if you weren't taught, or if you have other things that are coming up, like, maybe you have scarcity issues with money, right? Maybe money was really tight. There's an entire generation of our population where you think about like, our great grandparents at this point, right? Grandparents, great grandparents who had grown up during the Depression, and they learned to save everything. So their experience is completely the opposite of the younger generation's experience. Like I would say probably 40 and younger right now has really grown up with more of like that the iPad generation where everything has always been digitized. And so that's just such a different experience. And I think we don't think about that collectively as a whole too, right? Like all the plastic that came out in the 80s is a completely different experience for not reusing our stuff just the one time, and all the quality of things have gone down because companies are pushing profits, and it's so different than what it was 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Well, and go back. I mean, you bring the 80s up. It's like that's the line of demarcation because that's when manufacturing moved overseas. So in the 80s, manufacturing moved overseas. Everything got cheaper to make. It was cheaper to buy. And, I joke my grandmother never met a margarine container she didn't love, right? So I think it's that. And then take into other accounts. Are you a first-gen child of an immigrant? Right? Were your grandparents immigrants? That's a whole other thing. Did you get raised in the Midwest where you had big giant houses and then you moved to a smaller house? Were you raised in New York? Was someone in your, someone in your family a Holocaust survivor? Like all of that generational family history feeds into your relationship with your stuff. So, I see so much stuff on social media. I mean, social media is so great in some ways, and I connect with followers, and I love it. But then I see these people are like, it has to be this way, and I'm like, well, you're not taking into account so many things,
right?
So I just say to women, especially because it's us, we're just so hard on ourselves.
Oh gosh,
and so I think it's about I always say, you should feel like you own your stuff and not your stuff owns you. Yeah. So is your house forget what it looks like. No, I mean, I want you to feel beautiful in your house, and I want your house to be beautiful for you, but forget what it looks like. Does it work? Can you cook in your kitchen? Are your counters so cluttered that, I had this couple that I worked with for years that I love, and they bought a beautiful new house, and we were moving them in, and I'm unpacking, and I unpacked 4 different coffee makers that lived on the counter. So there was the drip coffee maker, there was the French press, there was the Keurig, and there was the Nespresso. And I was like, okay, we're going to do a taste test. Like, this is ridiculous. And then they both looked at me with this like look on their face, and they're like, well, actually, we go to Starbucks every morning. And I'm like, okay, well then why do we even have this?
Yeah. Yeah. Keep a couple, keep one, pick your favorite.
Exactly.
I'm not saying you have to get rid of everything. Maybe even 2. Maybe the mother-in-law comes in town and she only wants the Keurig. Fine. Let's find a home
and then
for
it gets
I
tucked
totally
up when
get
it
it.
pulls down.
Exactly.
Exactly. So I think that really, if you're battling clutter, and it is to start from the point of, does the house work for me? Not, is it messy? Is it bad? Am I lazy? None of that. Does it work for me, and does it work for my family? Whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
The great irony, I got married about 3 years ago, to just like the love of my life, the greatest man ever. He's so messy. He's so messy. He's tidy as like he's neat. Like, our house is clean. Like, he's immaculate. There's not like, he does not like dirt, but oh, so messy. And so we've had to navigate that, right? What does that look like? And in the beginning, there was a lot of me like, well, you're doing it wrong, and it has to be this way. And I was like, And so I started to pay attention, and things like he always loses his, always lost his keys, couldn't find his keys. And I was like, we're going to put a bowl by the door and just drop your keys in it. It's not precious. Just drop your keys in it. Just make it a habit. It's a habit now. He doesn't lose his keys anymore. You know, it's just that, like, I'm helping you learn this system so that you're not running around like a chicken with your head cut off every morning. Not good, not right or wrong. I'm not right, you're not wrong. It's just your life is stress because you're stressed in the morning doing this. So let's get rid of the stress. So I think that's the question for people to ask themselves is, does our house work?
Right. No, I love that. No judgment, just hey, I think we could make this better for you, right? Like, let's make this better, because as somebody who was a recovering key loser, it is so frustrating that to spend the last minutes before you leave and you have to go out into the world panicked and stressed, and just like, it throws off your whole day. It stinks. Like, nobody wants to start their day like that.
Well, and walk that backwards. Like, walk that morning routine backwards. Like, if your closet is so stuffed with clothes that 3/4 you don't even wear, and you're just getting dressed out of your laundry basket, you're already starting the day like, I can't find it. Is it wrinkled? I can't, so you're there. If your kitchen counter is so cluttered that you can't imagine making breakfast, so you're going to, go through the drive-through, and then you're not eating healthy, and then you're beating yourself up for that, and then you're late for work. It's all these things have a domino effect. So I'm always, what's your goal? To get out of the house in the morning? I don't have kids, but I have plenty of kids around. Like, getting those kids out of the house in the morning is something.
Yeah.
It's like an Olympic sport.
Right. Yeah. And the more you can streamline that, I only have one, but it's a very streamlined process for us. Like, there's very few mornings where there's any yelling going on or any stress of like, okay, hurry up, hustle, hustle, hustle. It's so interesting to me, because I think once we fall into patterns, you kind of just end up in that pattern. We have a carpool we meet at, and it's so funny that we all have the same pattern. We all show up like within the same minute, because that's the minute we've set. We had to change it and move it up a little bit, right? Because we were like, so we used to meet at 7:40, and we would be a little bit late, and all the patterns, we would get there at 7:42. And I know it's only 2 minutes, but it makes a huge difference with the lights.
Yeah.
And so we moved it to 7:35, and now we're all there by 7:34 or 7:35. And it's so interesting because we couldn't get there by 7:40, but we can get there by 7:35. And so it's just interesting how our patterns end up flowing into the same thing, and we just have to maybe have a little bit of a shift, and it will make that first domino will fall, and it will make everything so much easier.
My sister-in-law put my niece and nephew in a new school this year where they wear a uniform, and she's just like crying with happiness.
It's the best.
She's like, I can't even believe how our life has changed.
Yeah.
Like the kids get dressed on there. I mean, they're old enough to
Sure.
anyway, but there's no like, where's my that? It's like, she's
Right.
like, oh, she's like, we got like 20 minutes back in the morning. Like
Yeah.
just back. It's just off the table.
Yeah.
Um, so I think, kind of systematizing or
Mm-hmm.
repeatable, just those things that are really that you can do. I mean, it's not the way I eat, but I see a lot of talk about this with people who eat, the same meal every day. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I get it. You don't have to think about it.
Totally. Yeah. I get why. It's not my jam either, but I need a little variety, but I get why they do it. So, yeah. All right, let's get into some other patterns because you are known for getting to the root of clutter. So, not just at the piles. So, what are a few emotional patterns that you see come up again and again in people's homes?
So this is great. This is my jam. So when I started working with clients, I started to hear these same stories that
Okay.
everyone was talking about why they couldn't let go of their stuff. The same, like different tiny versions, but pretty much the same. So after a while, I was like, oh, these are universal, and there's 7 of them, and
Mm,
I call them clutter blocks. So they're the blocks that we tell ourselves about why we can't let go of what we don't need, use, or want anymore. And in my first book, Making Space Clutter Free, I do a deep dive on them. So if this resonates with you, it's great. It's available at libraries. It's free on Audible as an audio. But basically, it's everything from my stuff keeps me stuck in the past.
mm,
So hanging on to things that, either like clothes that you think you're going to fit into again, that, and I just talked about this on my Instagram. I had this dress that I wore to my brother's wedding. I stood up with my brother and I couldn't let go of it. I loved it. I was never going to fit into it again. And it had nothing to do with weight gain. It was like gravity, like my ribs changed. Like they're just different. I'm like,
yeah.
there's no world where I'm going to zip this up. I kept it. And my niece ended up wearing it to my wedding, which made it really special. But, I was stuck in the past. Like I was like, maybe someday. And I'm like, I guess if I have my ribs removed. So, so it's, things that keep us stuck in the past. Another really good one is my fantasy stuff for my fantasy
Mm,
life.
mm-hmm.
So buying or keeping things that you think I love them, but my crafters think that there is so much more time in the day than there actually is. They're like, well, I want a needlepoint and I want to cross stitch and I want to crochet. And it's like, there's only so many days, so many hours. So really keeping things for the life you think you should be living.
Mm-hmm.
Another big one is, and this is me, full disclosure, avoiding my stuff. Like,
Mm.
I don't even want to tell you how many text messages I have, how many unread emails. My work is so buttoned up. I have 3 businesses and a nonprofit. But my home stuff, it's like, oh, yeah, I got to do my taxes someday. So, another really big one is I'm not worth my good stuff.
Mm.
So not wearing that pretty blouse, not burning that nice candle, saving it for someday special. As I get older and, I'm watching my parents age, I'm like, oh, there's not that many days.
Mm.
Like you use that nice stuff, like wear that
Right.
blouse. Just wear it to
Yeah.
the grocery store. I had a friend who had like sort of her outfits that she was dating and really looking for a partner, and she had all her cute outfits that she wore. And then she got married and had a kid and was very happily married. And she was like, I just started wearing them around. And she's like,
Oh,
I feel so
yeah.
cute when I wear them. I was like, yes, wear your nice
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And a really big one that we see too is stuck with other people's stuff.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So this one is really emotional. This is like grown kids that are leaving their stuff at your house, people who have passed away and you've inherited all of it and you can't let go because you feel
Yeah.
like you're gonna, you know,
Lose the memory.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
it's really interesting. And I think if people are stuck decluttering and they don't understand why, and they're having a pretty visceral, emotional, I'd recommend reading the book because I think
Yeah.
people are like, oh, that's me. I'm that. And it's emotional. It's really emotional. Decluttering's totally emotional. I don't care what anybody says.
Totally.
You know, there are people that
Yeah.
are like, can do it, but that's not a lot of people.
And I think it's also a journey. Like, I think it's also, you have to allow yourself to grow through the process. I just did another giant declutter. I decluttered 500 things from my house. I was shocked that I found 500 things to declutter. But some of the things, like you said, it's just you get busy doing other things, right? I get busy building my business and doing this podcast and doing all sorts of other things that sometimes I don't do the best of doing the one in, one out. I don't really keep up on it. I made a comment of like, if that's you, that's great. But the rest of us mere mortals don't really, have the opportunity. And so that's just happened. Like that was just part of what happened. And so just going through stuff again, though, it was so interesting how much easier it was for me to let go this time than it has in the past when I've done these kinds of challenges before. I was shocked. And so I think that's part of it too. It's just a journey and you have to don't expect to do it all in one fell swoop. Like give yourself grace.
I always tell people Rome was not cluttered in a day. Like and also to understand there's just exactly that. If it's not a muscle that you're comfortable with, you're going to have to work on it. And also what's going to happen, especially if you do a big, if you're I'm tackling my whole house and you're sort of carloads away. What also happens is the next time you're I don't want to get back there again. I don't have to do that again. Yeah. So I really suggest to people that there's to put in a regular decluttering practice, once a month, once a week, just make it part of your, if you do spring cleaning, then you do spring decluttering. It's just because the stuff creeps in. I mean, I swear that kids go out in the world covered in Velcro and then they just come home with stuff stuck to them. Because I'm like, how did you bring all this stuff home?
Yeah, for sure. Yes. And those 500 things, we still haven't done my daughter's room. We did her bathroom. We've done the common spaces, but we still need to go back through her room. And again, kids, they grow so fast. Their tastes change. They're a constant declutter bunch. So for sure.
Oh no, honey. I say kids' room where hope goes to die. Well, and I had this conversation with my niece and nephew because it felt like 5 minutes ago, all they wanted was a Stanley Cup. I want a Stanley Cup. And now this Christmas, I want a Owala. I'm
for sure.
What happened to the Stanley Cup?
I have it now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this one I even won. I didn't even buy it. I won it at a trade show.
Yeah, no, it's exactly, it's funny. I did do a post about this too, where I was I was at the donation place and there were just hundreds of Stanleys. And I was like, do you all remember 8 months ago, 10 months ago, you were losing your mind? The other thing that happens as you get older, I'm just about to turn 61. And, the thing I'm noticing is I just am if I buy it, then I have to deal with it. And then what's going to happen to it? You know what I mean? I just really am and then I'm going to have to carry it around. And, we're talking about where we're kind of moving in the next 5 years. Then I'm going to have to move it. I'm it's fine. I can live without it. You really start to think about that, And if anybody out there who's listening is either downsizing themselves or had to downsize their parents.
Mm-hmm.
You're that's a whole journey. That's a whole journey. There's a great guy. I did an interview with him and it's on my YouTube page. His name's Nick Fox. I think he's Nick Fox Radio on Instagram. And he and his wife are cleaning out her grandma's house, her grandma's house. And he calls it the millennial inheritance. And so he's and people are sending him all these things that they've inherited and they're having to deal with. It's a great follow. He's charming and funny. And Nick Fox Radio. Tell him I sent you. He's great. And it's a good interview. We have a great interview on my YouTube channel. But
perfect.
But he's just Hummels. I have all these Hummels. What am I doing with these Hummels?
God, I can only imagine. Yeah. And that's the thing. I have done that for myself, for my stuff. So my daughter doesn't inherit these random things. I remember I got my birthday dolls, if anybody remembers. So I was born in 1980. So I had these little figurines and every year it was a new one, you're turning
Did
one.
they have
Here's your number one. And it was a little doll and it was, yeah. Go ahead.
was it porcelain? Was it like
Porcelain.
porcelain?
Yep.
And it had
Yep.
kind of a puffy dress?
Yes. And
Yeah.
it had a number.
Mhm.
Yes. So to go
Mhm.
with the year. And I think I had them through 12. And when my parents moved to the current house they're in, it was like, here, I had these. And I was like, that's lovely. You go, kiddo, take a look. Aren't they cute? Here they go. I got rid of them because I didn't want them. What was she going to do with them? She doesn't want them. So it was more of, it's that kind of idea of like, it's my stuff. I have to deal with it. I'm not passing it on. Like the buck stops with me. Like I do not want to make her deal with that stuff. So I'm at least dealing with my stuff now. And then, yes, when I have to deal with my parents' stuff later, I'll deal with it when I deal with it then. I'm not going to worry about it now.
Well, and I think it's just gets so complicated and so layered of like, it's like, well, I kept it and you should want it. And, it's going to be worth money. No, it's not. It's all these things. It was interesting. I was working with somebody and she must have been in her late 70s. And so her children were in their 50s, right? And so we're cleaning out this and she had all this stuff. And this is where the smartphone's great. I'm like, take a picture, text it to your daughter, and she kept saying, don't you remember this dress you wore? And she's like, I don't remember it. She's like, those are your memories.
Yes. Thank
right?
you.
Those are your memories, not mine.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 100%. And we've done that with our daughter's stuff too. Like if we're decluttering out of her room and she's ready to pass on something, like she's like, I don't want that. And I'm not, which has happened very few times, but it has happened. I say, okay, it's mine. Instead of saying, are you sure? And second guessing her decision. Oh, don't you remember this or that, whatever. I go,
no,
great.
That goes
it's
in.
Mine.
It's called your grandma box. You make a grandma box.
All right.
You make a box that are things like that. I mean, when I used to go visit my grandparents, they had a chest up in their attic that was my mom's toys. I loved playing with it. Make a grandma box. You got a box. It's some things from hers that you can share if and when she has grandkids. You get a grandma box.
Okay, good to know. We'll think about it. All right, that's an option for sure. Okay, let's go back to, women feeling pressured in their home and judged by the process of decluttering, because I think a lot of people, especially because you go into people's homes and you work with people directly, I can imagine. Let's talk through that process. How does that work with them? Because I'm sure a lot of people feel shame or, just embarrassed or not sure what to do. So how do you help people with that?
So, the first step is that we are a no judgment zone. I'm the child of a hoarder. My dad has extreme hoarding disorder. I've talked about it many times. It's as bad as it can be. Like everyone's like, oh, my house is so bad. I'm like, oh no, you have no idea. So I start there. Like I have, I've seen the worst of the worst of the worst. And my goal is to help. My goal is to get your house where you want it to be. And by the time somebody calls me, something's not working. They're in crisis. They want to move. All the things. So it's always, I'm very, very focused on what's the goal? Why do you want to do this? Well, do you want to turn your garage into a rec room for the teenagers so you can get them out of your house? Do you want to clean out the guest room so that your mom can come and visit? Like I try and make it about what's the positive goal. Yeah. And then everyone's focused on that as opposed to, it's a Brene Brown quote, but she says, guilt is I did a bad thing. Shame is I'm a bad person. That's you're not a bad person because you got this way, and so many times when houses are really upside down, almost always there was like a death in the family or dealing with depression or, post partum or just a million things that you have no control over. So it's like, let's not, eventually we'll start to talk about what got you here, but let's talk about where you're going. Yeah. So I think if someone's trying to do this on their own, what's your goal? What do you want? And by the way, one of the things that you can want, your goal can just be empty space. That's a perfectly fantastical. I just want empty space. I don't want to be looking at this anymore. So I think if people can focus on the positive and what they're moving towards, not what they're moving away from,
Yes.
it helps take that shame down.
Yeah, definitely. Another movie quote that it reminds me of is in Devil Wears Prada, when Stanley Tucci is talking to, and they're talking, and he says, oh, well, you wait until your personal life falls apart. That's when you're due for a promotion. And it's kind of like, sometimes we just get so overwhelmed by other things that are happening. You can't do everything at the same time. Sometimes you have to, ebb and flow and let something go a little bit while something else is more important and taking priority. And then vice versa, you can swing back the pendulum a little bit when you have the bandwidth.
And, look, women do the lion's share. It's just a fact. And especially in families and, and especially it's just the fact. And so to think that you can do it all, I don't know when that BS got passed off to us, but we don't even have kids in our house. My husband's kids are grown. It's just like the two of us. We can't get anything done.
Yeah, it's been around forever. Forever.
I mean, we have right now we have fire alarms that are just sitting here. And I'm like, what's happening? He's like, we got to put those up. And I'm like,
Okay, create
so
a plan.
And so I think that sometimes in that situation too, I say to people, and I'm sure you talk about this in your courses, is schedule it in. You're not going to wake up and be like, today's the day I feel like, nobody feels like
do that.
Schedule it in. It's like you have to schedule your gym in. You always feel better after you go work out. Always.
Right.
But you never want to go work out. So, put these things on your schedule.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love that. Okay, so let's see. All right. That was my next question. I was going to talk about how busy women often say, I know what I need to do, but I just can't seem to do it. So when motivation is low and life is full, you suggest they schedule it in. What else do you suggest they do?
Hire help. I'm sorry. You know how you're superwoman and get it all done? You delegate. Hire help. If you're in a financial position to do that, hire help. Yeah. I mean, look, if you wanted to, paint your house, you're not going to go out and paint your house. I think that in hiring, hire a professional organizer, get someone to help you. If financially it doesn't work out, is there a friend you can swap with? Is there can you, if you have a friend who's great at, can you say I'm going to take all the kids to Lagoon, roller rink park or whatever for 5 hours, have at my closet. I think that we need to understand that not only is there no shame, that it's actually really positive and a sign of strength to get help. Yeah. So get help.
I love that. So true. And let's get rid of the stigma around the fact that I can't do it by myself. So I just throw up my hands and just don't do anything at all. Let's absolutely get rid of that.
I can. I know how. I'm good at it. I can clean my house. I can scrub my house. I can do it. I don't enjoy it. And I'm in a financial position where I can hire someone and my house is clean and it makes me so happy. It makes me so happy, and it makes me so happy that I am providing an income to someone who's lovely. And, why not? Why not? I mean, I'm very fortunate to be able to do that. It's funny, but our housekeeper she does my husband's laundry because he doesn't care. I'm crazy about I still do all my own laundry because I was I don't it's different t-shirts. It doesn't get put away right. And it's a meditation for me. So, that's the thing. Are there some tasks that you can delegate out?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, I love that. I love that so much because it's very true. And it can be all sorts of things. It doesn't have to just be your home. Like you just said, there's parts that you delegate within your cleaning. You don't delegate all of it. And so I think you can pick and choose and pick the things that work for you and the things that you don't mind doing and delegate the things that you just hate doing. Absolutely.
Look, I run a 7-figure business. I have 10 organizers that work for me. I've been in business for 18 years. For the first 10 or 11, I thought I had to do everything. I didn't have a bookkeeper. I didn't have someone doing my invoicing. I was on every job, and my business was successful, but stopped at a certain point because I couldn't. And then I was also like, well, no one else can do it as good as I am. Maybe they don't do it the same way that you do it. And then as I started hiring people and outsourcing and doing this, we like doubled. So when you start to think about that, like, what do I gain by delegating? What do I gain by getting help? I mean, I got to say, I always say this. I'm like, there's a reason, like back in ye old days, that everybody had a lot of kids, because those kids did a bunch of work on the farm, know?
Good point.
That it wasn't really till the 50s where it was like housewife and she had to do it all. And, but in the olden days, it was like aunts lived on the farm and, uncles and everybody. It was a village. So this idea that one person is supposed to cook every meal and do all the cleaning and, drive the kids to school and potentially work also.
And look amazing while doing it.
Yeah. And the irony to me, and but just the irony of this sort of trad wife movement on social media about like, I don't work. And I'm like, you're working right now.
Yeah.
This content you're making and editing and posting is working.
Yeah.
Like, mazel tov, great, but call it what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I make content. It's not easy.
No, it's not easy. It's so time consuming.
Yeah.
Videos take hours to edit. Like this idea, like, I don't work. What are you doing right now? You're working. So I think that I kind of, my hope for 2026 and as we start this new year, is that we just women, like, let's just go a little easier on ourselves.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. Give ourselves more leeway to be imperfect and amazing at the same time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And what do you want to spend your time doing? Like, do you want to spend your time, making sure that the cereal's in the right decanter and then like, I don't care. I want to find my stuff when I need it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I want my daughter to be able to get the cereal out and pour herself a bowl of cereal when she needs to. That is the point of cereal.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean, I do like tidy cabinets. I tidy them up all the time just because order makes me feel better. But there are also times like we had a bunch of people through the holidays and I was like, well, I'll just put it back after everybody leaves.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's okay too, to have like a mix. Like, again, it doesn't have to be 100%, right? Like you can have, I think I decant my flour and my sugar because those actually fit in the bins.
And they don't leak and they don't get, and
it's great. Keeps the bugs out. The cereal, we go through it so fast, it does not need to go into a container in my house. Other people, if it works for your house, great. I don't have it in my house and that's fine. I actually did, I did some work with the National Cleaning Safety Institute. And, this, like, I hopefully it stopped when everyone was decanting their laundry room and like putting the Tide Pods.
Yeah, but it's so dangerous.
Right.
Especially if
they
they're
look
little
like
kids.
And they're in candy jars.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes. I mean, first of all, I was like, that's ridiculous. But then also I was like, this is so dangerous. Like some kid, those kids, you turn around for 5 seconds and they're whatever the shiny object is. So
for sure.
I think if someone out there is listening and is, wanting to start their journey and feeling overwhelmed and feeling ashamed, like focus on what your goal is. Start with the positive. What do you want? Come, listen to podcasts, come follow me on Instagram. Like it's just super, it's one step at a time. It's one step at a time. And we're just all so hard on ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. Well, maybe that's the answer to this question, but I know you've worked with thousands of clients at this point. And so what is one decluttering myth that you wish we could all collectively let go of?
That bins will solve all your problems.
So true. Oh, so true. Oh, I love that one. Oh, that was a good one.
I am a fan of containment. I think that in a lot of spaces they make sense, but people think more bins better. No, no. And first of all, I mean, we just got a call the other day. Somebody said, well, just go to the container shop, buy everything. And it's like, no, 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 no. You declutter first.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you actually need them? And then you install them if you need them. If you don't already have them because you probably bought them already. So yeah, this idea that like bins will solve all your problems.
So true. So very true. All right, Tracy, this has been fantastic. I know people are going to want to find you and follow you. So you just mentioned Instagram and things like that. Where can they actually find you?
So at Tracy_MCCUBBIN Instagram. That's kind of my biggest platform. I'm pretty big over on TikTok, but Instagram's where we do a lot of stuff. I've got a YouTube channel where we put stuff like this up. And then my books, the first book is Making Space Clutter Free. And the second book is Make Space for Happiness. And again, if you're trying not to clutter with books, they're at your local library. But it's a really good starting place for somebody who's on the beginning of their journey or somebody who's really stuck and doesn't know why.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I'm going to go pick up that second book because I love that idea of just there's, those 7 sticking points that we can all relate to. And so I think that's wonderful. And then my favorite way to end every episode, though, is with rapid fire questions. And so the first one is, what does clutter-free mean to you?
Clutter-free to me means that I can find what I'm looking for when I'm looking for it, and I know exactly where to put it back.
Oh, that feeling is so amazing. Oh. And number 2, what is making you happy right now or in this season of life?
Oh, wow. That's a big one. What's making me happy? My family.
Yeah.
In my family. My parents are aging, and so every moment with them just gets a little more precious.
Totally. I get that. And the last one, if someone listening feels overwhelmed but hopeful, like they're ready to change but unsure where to begin, what's one small kind step you'd invite them to take this week?
Start small. Pick a tiny drawer, pick a shelf in your linen closet, pick an area of your house that's manageable, small, and not emotional. So don't start with your dead mom's letters. Start with old pillowcases. Like just start because you'll be successful. You won't get wrapped around the axles and very emotional, and you'll be like, "Oh, I did this. I accomplished this. I love this." And then you'll be able to build upon it.
Love it. The building blocks, absolutely wonderful. Well, Tracy, thank you so much for joining us. This has been amazing.
Thank you so much for having me, and Happy New Year. I guess we get to still say that, maybe?
Yeah, Happy New Year. I think so. I mean, anytime. I'm happy anytime we can celebrate anything. So, yes. Wasn't that a great conversation? I loved chatting with Tracy about getting over perfectionism and giving ourselves grace. I'm really excited for what is going to happen going forward. I think a lot of us are seeing through that performative art of organizing and trying to make everything perfect. And I'm really excited that we're getting more to the heart of the matter when it comes to our homes being a place that should work for us and our families instead of the other way around. So I'm really excited to see what 2026 has in store. And I just thank Tracy so much for bringing her tips and just all of her expertise and knowledge to this podcast and to you. I would love to know, though, what stuck out for you the most. What was something that Tracy brought today that you were like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, I get it now. Or, oh, that's something I want to implement. Come on over and let us know. Tracy and I are hanging out over on Instagram. I've got a post up there for this week, and it's at wannabeclutterfree is my handle over there. So come and join in the conversation. And the show notes for today can be found at wannabeclutterfree.com/292. So you can link to any of the resources Tracy talked about, including her books, which, as I said, I'm going to be picking up at least that second one because I think those 7 clutter sticking points are going to be really helpful for you as well as I'm doing my research going forward. And so I just love having new resources for you as well. All right. Thank you so much again for joining me today. Make sure you come back here next week. I will be talking with Ashley Hines. We are going to be clearing the fog. She's going to be helping us do that. And fog stands for fear, obligation, and guilt. And so it's going to be a fantastic conversation. Ashley joined joined my Chaos to Calm Summit last year, and her talk was so amazing. I know she's going to be bringing us some great information next week as well. So make sure you join us. It's going to be a good one. All right. Until next time, take care. Keep things simple. Start small, like Tracy says. They are building blocks that can build on each other. I know you can do it. I believe in you. I know you can do anything you set your mind to. I'm Deanna Yates, and you've been listening to Wanna Be Clutter Free. I'll see you next week. Cheers.